great to have all of you here. Welcome to Addictions, talking about addictions, not hopefully being in addictions. How many of you have ever heard me speak before? Okay, well, as you can tell, I really get around. I get out a lot. It took me 1.5 years to write this textbook, working on it 7 days a week. I have no idea what I'd signed up for, but it just was published in December, and so there's interest around the world in it. It's an award-winning textbook, believe it or not, even though it just came out with the Canadian Counseling and Psychotherapy Association. So I do like to bring in a bit of humor in my presentations wherever I can, even when I'm talking about serious matters like addiction. I think humor is such an important part of our healing as people, that just because we're talking about a serious topic, part of the cure is helping people to live again, helping people to have a good laugh, and to see that we should not be taking life nearly as seriously as most of us do. So now interestingly, hallucinogens, by and large, are not considered addictive. That doesn't mean in any sense that they're safe. We'll be talking a little more about that shortly. But they're not considered addictive per se. But they certainly can bring on paranoia and just some terrible things, and you may just end up in the hospital. As an 18-year-old I was working with recently, and he was a student at the University of Calgary and decided to take too many hits of LSD, and it just brought on a full psychosis. He ended up in the hospital. And the sad part is, even by the time I finished working with him, he just thought, maybe I'll be okay if I just reduce the dose. That's kind of scary to me when clients tell me stuff like that, because I'm thinking, for you, buddy, this drug at least is not the drug of choice that you should try again, ever. So what is it like to use psychoactive drugs? I know some of you have used some of these psychoactive drugs, but I decided that I'm going to do a world premiere. What I'm going to do with you has never been done before. I'm going to try, through visual and sound and talking to you at the same time, to help create some drug effects. So you can tell me at the very end, there's about 5 pieces I'm going to take you through, whether you really enjoyed it. That's the main thing here. I want to know if you enjoyed the experience, because I don't want to just lecture at you the entire time. So let's start with LSD in the first example. This is going to be rather mind-blowing. Yeah, so nearly 20% of the deaths in Canada are completely preventable. Okay, let's take a little further. So 54,000. I want you to imagine that every man, woman, and child dies instantly right now, because that's how many people are dying every year from these drugs, wiping out the whole place and then some. For us out west here, imagine Penticton, I love that place, but also take out Summerland and Peachland, and you still don't even have quite as many. Does that not sound like a national disaster to you? So then we have these other addictions. So what about sex addiction? Wow, huge. Exercise addiction, rare. Work addiction, and it's the one we mostly want, isn't it? Work addiction, about 5% of people are considered workaholics. So there's some really good messages in there. We could call it embracing our inner child. Many of us were raised as Reggie Whites, and yet you have to get beyond being a Reggie. You have to become your own Elton John. You have to start becoming the person you want to become, even if you did experience a lot of trauma. Even if you weren't accepted and loved by your parents. So that's part of the cure on the individual level. That's often where people like me, psychologists, come into play. They're trained therapists as well. So the 10 tips for teachers, you really do need that handout. So you're going to get that later, right? Because really important, I put on point number 8, watch for the signs that a student is using drugs, and when they finally develop true authenticity and stop lying about anything, then true, genuine, deep healing can begin to occur. Because then you become accountable to everybody that loves you. And hopefully by the time you get there, you still have a few out there that do. Thank you.